We begin tonight with that breaking news. Former President Bill Clinton is recovering from a cardiac procedure at New York Presbyterian Hospital this afternoon. His cardiologist just made this statement moments ago.
Today, President Clinton came to see me because over the past several days, he had been having episodes of chest discomfort that were brief in nature, but because they were repetitive, he contacted me and came in on the basis of his symptoms, which were occurring at rest. It was decided to admit him to the hospital and perform angiography. His initial tests, electrocardiogram and blood tests, showed no evidence of heart attack. Again, I repeat, he did not have a heart attack or any damage to his heart. The pictures were taken of the arteries that supply blood to the heart and of the 4 bypass grafts that he had 6 years ago. One of the bypass grafts was completely blocked, and because of that, and the fact that he was having repetitive symptoms at rest, he was treated with 2 stents that were placed into his own coronary artery. The procedure went very smoothly. President Clinton has since been up and walking around and visiting with his family. He's in good spirits, and we hope to have him go home tomorrow.
In terms of the history here, our nation's 42nd president, Mr. Clinton, underwent quadruple bypass surgery at the same hospital from which this physician was speaking in 2004. Mr. Clinton required another operation 6 months after that bypass due to a somewhat rare post-surgical complication involving scar tissue and fluid buildup in his lungs. His cardiologist saying tonight that one of the bypass grafts from the bypass procedure 6 years ago was found today to be completely blocked. Now, of course, having stents placed in heart arteries is a routine procedure, sort of, for patients who suffer from heart disease. A stent basically creates a little scaffold that holds the blood vessel open, allowing blood to flow. NBC News Chief Science and Health Correspondent Robert Bazell told us today that about 1 million Americans get stents every year. One strange fact, the inventor of the coronary stent was Charles Dotter. This is sort of an odd fact that will help you remember the thinking behind what stents do. Charles Dotter created his own trademark showing a crossed pipe and wrench. Mr. Dotter said the emblem meant, this relates to the stent, that if a plumber can do it to pipes, we can do it to blood vessels. Joining us now is Dr. Fred Feit. He's an associate professor of medicine at NYU Medical Center. He's director of their cardiac catheterization lab. Dr. Feit, thanks so much for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Mr. Clinton's doctor this evening, Dr. Schwartz, describing repetitive symptoms at rest as being what initiated the contact from President Clinton to his doctor. What does he really mean?
Well, Rachel, the heart is supplied by a number of coronary arteries, 3 arteries, and as you know, 6 years ago, the president had blockages in those arteries, and therefore bypass grafts were put onto his heart. When there's an imbalance between the need for blood from the heart and the supply of blood, you get a feeling of like a cramp in the heart, exactly what the president was describing. A sense of discomfort, a sense of tightness, a sense of pressure. So it's just as he developed, as this graft closed and he became dependent again on the clogged up artery, his heart was not getting enough blood with even minimal exercise. How
major a procedure was what the president underwent today? We heard his physician say that it was about an hour-long operation, but what actually happens and how hard a thing is it to endure?
So it's not difficult to endure. It's a procedure that has to be taken very seriously, though. I describe it as doing a bypass from outside the body. So basically what we do is to bring the patient into what looks like an operating room, but it's a sterile environment with x-ray. And under local anesthesia, we make a tiny, place a needle into the big artery in the leg, the femoral artery down in the groin, and through that place catheters up to the heart. So the patient feels something akin to an IV. Then after we take the pictures, as Dr. Schwartz indicated, a blockage is identified, and then a tiny little guide wire is placed across the blockage. And then once you get that little wire across, you can deliver the stent. So the procedure is considered very routine. As was said, about 1 million are done each year in this country. We do several thousand in our medical center, as they do at Columbia. And the mortality rate is very, very low, less than 0.5%. The success rate is very, very high. So in most cases, it is a routine, simple procedure.
President Clinton, 63 years old. People are concerned about obviously just his health, also his prognosis moving forward. Is it likely that he'll have limits on his future behavior, level of activity, anything like that, that would be anything different than he had before this?
No. I think that he will make a complete recovery. From the reports that we heard, all of his other bypass grafts are open. His heart muscle is fine. He's never had a significant heart attack, so I would expect him to return to his complete active lifestyle as good as ever.
Dr. Fred Feit, New York University cardiologist, thank you very much for your time tonight. I know it was short notice to have you here. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.